Sometimes I'm asked to look at the big picture of the finance function. This particular finance function, including its shared service centre and including all the things that go on, costs X million per year. Is that the right number? There are some benchmarks out there. The limitation, of course, is that the activities in a finance function are not only related to revenue. Some organisations have very high amounts of cash flowing through them, and they make their money on the margin. So gross profit and turnover are very close. Other organisations have sales transactions flowing through them, and so the revenue is very high, but the gross profit is relatively small. And so that understood benchmark really should be understood as a case of what percentage of value added, howsoever measured, is each finance function in terms of its cost. And in your own consideration, you might think, well, we're a very high value added business compared to our turnover, or a relatively low value added business compared to our turnover, and you can make your own adjustment when you're thinking about your own finance function. Okay, that's fine, we've got our benchmark. What might we do about it? It's worth thinking about how many people are working in transaction processing. And I think it's often the case that it's very easy to think of transaction processing as being a low value added activity, and the work that they do is relatively easy to measure in terms of how many of those per that. Having said that, if we could get every single transaction right first time, then the amount of time we spend doing accruals, estimating numbers that we maybe could have known, or estimating numbers that we maybe should have known if our transaction processing had been able to get things right first time. One of the most efficient finance functions I ever came across had a relatively high ratio of transaction processing to other finance people, because so much effort went into getting the transaction processing right first time. Actually, there was little to do after that in the process.